everybody, and welcome to the CX Live Dialogues. We are delighted to have with us today Jamal Awadhi, who is the Chief Operating and Experience Officer at WIO Bank, the region's first platform bank created to reboot banking for everybody. Welcome, Jamal. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Ayusha. It's lovely to be here.
Now, Jamal, obviously you are working in an ecosystem that's disruptive and that obviously creates a lot of excitement amongst the consumers as well, because you bring to them various opportunities to make their journey with a brand exciting. What are the main challenges you are seeing in the CX industry this far, especially in the ecosystem that you're operating in?
I think that's a fantastic question. I think some of the biggest challenges are really coming from the customers themselves, as is always the case. Customers are hungry for improved and better experiences that they're used to in apps or services that they use in other sectors that they feel should be standard when it comes to our sector, financial services. We've seen fintechs come into this space and really disrupt the way customers engage with typical banking services, improving their customer experience, presenting information in a very different way, not just the look and feel of an app, but even how they inform and guide and advise customers. So we're seeing the nature of services changing slightly, becoming a little bit more human, a lot more friendlier than when they were before. I think a lot of that goes back to the talent profile within these companies, that are being set up, whether they're fintechs or they're digital banks, or in our case, platform bank. I think that the struggle that financial services has is everyone that you typically find in financial services has been in financial services, for a really long time, and they're used to doing things a certain way. And if it's great for the bank and it works well for the bank, then that's the way it's going to be. Where the approach should be different, it is of course bringing the customer into that process of what good looks like, but also bringing in that new thought process, the new ideas, the fresh viewpoints from newer, younger talent, and with more creative ideas. And leveraging those to even take something that everyone is used to and is very common, but change the lens and change the way you potentially ask the question, the way you potentially serve your customer. And then the last part, I think everyone speaks about this, no matter what sector you're in, is personalization. I think there's definitely money to be made when it comes to financial institutions from personalization. A lot of research behind this has said that you will deliver improved CX when you are more personalized, and there are a number of tools now enabling that, whether it's analytics, AI, or machine learning, to be able to serve our customers, even if it's with the same product, just slightly differently, that maybe lands a bit better when it comes to their own use case.
Definitely. And I think you've touched upon a couple of very, very important points. One is that fintechs have really disrupted the MENA financial and banking system. And obviously, the customers are becoming the main drivers for future product development, as we see. And the second is that customers are driving the need for personalization, because the more personalized services, the easier it becomes to engage with your customers as well as retain your customers. And therefore, the key challenge out here is, how do you progress with latest developments and improvements? And my question here to you would be, how do you embrace the continuous development and improvement in your products and services? And how have you seen that evolve in the customer experience space within companies in the region?
So I think, again, leading on to my earlier point about leveraging some of the, not just new talent, but also the new technologies, to your point, where you can gain an improvement in CX is, of course, investing more in sort of the AI space, the machine learning space. And I'll come to this. There's nothing more frustrating than if you're a customer having to reach out to the bank and spend time waiting for an answer from the bank, or in some cases having to actually physically visit a branch. I think that's a complete no-no in today's world, right? That's nothing that's never going to be a positive outcome for the customer, whether you're being on hold or you're waiting in a line to talk to somebody. And so what we're seeing is, in terms of self-service, increasingly becoming popular, right? How do you push increased self-service to the customer? Now, you have to be careful because not every type of request can be self-serviced, but the majority of them can. And for those, that's where we see investments in AI-based chatbots, generative AI coming into play, where a lot of the volumes that you'll see come through and requests that come through can easily be managed in a very friendly way with the customer through the use of AI technology. And we're going to see increasingly more and more interactions being handled by AI. Everyone talks about obviously the growth of AI, and with obviously you can't go and have any conversation today without the words Chat GPT being mentioned, and of course with newer versions of the platform coming out, you're seeing newer products and services that now can be built on top of it and leverage it. And I think that financial services is no exception. We not just from serving the customer in terms of their requests, but also from providing advice, allowing them to select the right products for their situation, or if they have a financial challenge they need a recommendation with, using obviously the power of AI and machine learning to be able to offer the best recommendation or the next best action for the customer.
Certainly. And as you rightly said, that, especially in the MENA region, the financial services sector is usually the driver of a lot of really exciting technology being leveraged and being embraced by the customer. What would you say is the top technology enabler which is driving the transformation we are witnessing today?
In the MENA region, like the rest of the world, I think the single biggest factor that started this, the rapid movement towards or towards a complete digitization, was COVID. I think before that, I think it was happening, but it was at varying rates, not just within the region but around the world. But since COVID, everything has taken a fast track, which in some ways is really good for the industry. We've seen innovation in other parts of the world as well take off. We're seeing the rise of super apps. So chat apps have become super apps, and within the super app ecosystem, you have a number of services you can utilize. We're seeing that financial services is also one of them. So you see chat apps moving into the super app space, which means they're moving into the financial services space, starting to take up market share in the payment space. And really fundamentally, when you boil it down, what's driving that? It's really the need from the customer to not want to go to different places anymore to perform different actions. They want to go to one place. Ideally, it's on their mobile device. And that's where they want to be able to do everything, whether it's payment, whether it's ordering food, whether it's ordering an Uber, and paying a bill, you name it, or sending money. They want one place to go to, usually on their own personal device, which has also then led to another shift or another phenomena, which is not just digital first, but mobile first. This is what everyone moves towards. Even here at WIO, we started with mobile first, and then depending on the segment we're targeting, we deployed additional platforms, additional quote-unquote channels that best suited the customer.
Wonderful. Now, WIO has obviously enabled companies big and small across the globe to exceed customer and employee expectations. How has your platform impacted companies in terms of not just customer experience, but also their employee experience?
I think you have to go back to WIO at its core. So WIO really is the next evolution of banking. We're not digital banks. We believe digital banks are the past. We believe we are the future. So we are what we call a platform bank, and we are the the region's first platform bank, an approach really is to make banking easier. We know that our customers, these businesses, these SMEs, really care about doing their business and focusing on their business. Managing finances and the peripheral tasks that are in the admin tasks that go alongside that isn't their core business. What we aim to do, and we're very, very happy at how we've been growing and we've been succeeding so far, is being able to take that time that these businesses were spending on managing their finances. Okay, let's go pay salaries, let's go pay our bills, our invoice. We need to follow up on invoices. You know, we need to go and make sure we have money in the budget to pay our taxes. We have money in the budget to pay rent. We have money put aside for any other capital expenses. We're taking away all that time and headache and giving that time back to the business owners so they can focus on what's important for them. It's their business and their customers. And through WIO, they're able to fully onboard digitally to open their account, have access to cash, checks, transfers, create a number of different virtual cards, you know, one for the finance department, one for the admin team, one for HR, track spending accordingly. They're able to do invoicing to their customers and then send a payment link along with the invoice. And then in one simple place and central place, be able to see who's paid, who hasn't, who do they need to follow up with. It's all really streamlined. They can put away money for taxes. They can start a space, they can save for rent or a large expense that they might have coming up. So they really start to have better control over their money, number one, but without so much effort, right? We take that effort out of it.
Clearly, you've articulated a really well-defined process by which you're assisting your customers. Now, last but not the least, and again, it's extremely important that in today's competitive ecosystem, we're able to have our defining ways of distinguishing from other players in the market. How does WIO do this?
As I said earlier, we differentiate ourselves because we don't look at ourselves as just another bank or just another digital bank. We're a platform bank when we are the region's first. And we're really starting to bring in not just more products and services that are all very well and interconnected together within the platform, but bringing a very human layer to it. And I'll come to how that is. Banking today, people feel like they need to go to a bank to access banking services. We don't believe that. Now, while we have an app that's a banking app, that's only one pillar at WIO as a platform bank. The second pillar is banking as a service, and the third is embedded finance, both of which allow the extension of banking services into the other apps, other services, other businesses where the customer will live and exist. So it's not necessarily bringing a customer to a banking app or a banking service, but rather looking and seeing where is the customer today, where are they spending their time today, and extending these financial services products to those customers in the places that they are already spending that time and instead of just trying to pull them away. So that's the core, is how do we bring banking services or financial services into their everyday lives in that way and manner. And you can only do that as a platform bank. I mean, that's why we started off obviously to disrupt the market with banking apps, but then quickly we will move towards embedded finance and banking as a service.
It all sounds very interesting, and I'm sure our listeners are going to be equally intrigued to hear more about this at the CX Live show, where obviously you'll be presenting later on in another few weeks. And we're looking forward to, Jamal, hearing your insights and listening more about this incredible journey that WIO is on in order to transform the way you service your customers and your clients. So looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you so much for your time, Ayusha, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at the event and happy to have that dialogue and exchange of ideas.
Wonderful. See you shortly. Take care until then. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.